Welcome to our third webinar, Mastering Multi-Channel Support in Service Cloud. Today we will embark in a journey to undo the complexity of providing exceptional customer service across diverse channels. Today I have Jan Verbrugge, Director Solution Engineer from Salesforce next to me, and I am Stefan, your host.
Hello.
As in the previous sessions, you can always ask your questions and we will answer them as soon as possible. Let's start. Welcome, Jan.
Hello again.
In today's world, with a lot of communication channels like mobile, social, email, chatbots, I can imagine that not having a multi-channel support in one tool can be problematic. So how can Salesforce Service Cloud help companies?
Great question, and indeed, right, I think it can be done in several tools, but it's probably not the most efficient way, not from a cost perspective, but definitely not from a customer and agent experience point of view. Service Cloud actually brings a unique platform that has, if you want to, all the channels that one would need in the contact center available in one place. But not only that, we also have all the tools that we need for routing, making sure that the right engagement ends up with the right agent in the right time. And we have a lot of tools for both the supervisors, who obviously need to monitor what's coming in, and also for the service executives who need to have, very good and detailed reporting on how the different channels are performing, how much they cost, and how efficient they are.
Can you explain what is the importance of multi-channel?
I would say multi-channel nowadays is something that you must have, right? I think if you haven't got multi-channel today, I think you're probably not going to be there for a long time. Back in the days, I think, telephony was the biggest channel for most customer service organizations. If you run into trouble, you would pick up the phone and call. Then for a long time it was email. That was, if you want to, the second asynchronous channel that was added for more complex use cases and where information digitally had to be shared. And it isn't actually until very recently that more and more channels have been added, and I think that had a lot to do with the come of social channels, back in the day, specifically with Facebook and Twitter. But I would say today we have come to a point where there's so many channels that it is actually important also for the customers and our customers to start thinking about what are the right channels for them to switch on and how to actually use them, right? Because there's various ways of using tools. Is it an inbound channel? Is it an outbound channel? Is it a channel that you use 24/7? You use for every customer? So there's a whole strategy that you need to think about when it comes to channels.
So self-service is the key factor, I think, and also to reduce the cost of and time of a self-service, of a service agents, their work. What I hear a lot with organizations is that how more channels they give to their customers, how lazier they become at looking for themselves to the question that they need. So I think about WhatsApp or social. It's easier to WhatsApp a message to a company to ask, "Are you open?" than to look it on the internet. Yeah. So what is your think about that?
That is a perception that lives with a lot of customers. Unfortunately, when we ask consumers, would you rather get in touch with a company or actually find the solution yourself? I would say more than 90% of the customers will say, I'd rather find the answer myself in self-service. So it's not so much that the consumers and the customers don't want to self-service. It is actually a lot and often to do with the fact that companies have not built a proper self-service strategy. And I think this is essential and crucial, right? In setting up a successful self-service organization is be aware of what the questions are that your customers have and what information you can provide in a self-service way. where to put it and how to put it, right? So self-service can be obviously an FAQ, where if a customer ends up with on your web pages, they can search, but that's quite reactive, right? There's also a lot of proactive ways of self-service, right? Have buttons on the page, have bots available, make it very specific when a customer is on a specific page of the process, that the relevant information is already there, so they don't need to look for it, and it gives them some confidence as well.
Great answers. But what are the key features of Salesforce?
I would say when it comes to channels in Service Cloud, I would say that there is obviously, I think, the digital channels that is the biggest portion of that. Today, as I said, email is probably one of the oldest digital channels around. It has been a little bit, seen as a legacy and things that are that one of the channels that is going to disappear. However, we see with the new coming of artificial intelligence, machines can start reading emails, and it still sticks around as a good channel. Obviously, a channel that has been around a long time but never really taken off successfully is chat. Weirdly enough, it took the likes of Facebook Messenger and WhatsApp to actually push the usage of chat up. I would say chat still has a big advantage that it is a channel that you own, right? It's a communication channel that sits on your own website and that you have full control over, specifically for some heavily regulated industries like, financial institutions or insurances and stuff like that. You don't necessarily want the conversations between you and your customer to happen over public infrastructures or public networks. But still, right, we see a huge increase still today in channels like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, and now even today we have, for instance, Apple Business, that messages that comes up and stuff like that. So it becomes important, and that is one of the many channels that Salesforce offers. I think the big elephant often in the room is telephony, right? Yeah. Everybody goes on, including myself, for many years now, talking about how telephony is becoming less and less important in the contact center, and actually quite the opposite, right? Telephony still has a quite important part of as a channel in the contact center, but we see a huge shift in where voice has been used, telephony has been used. It becomes more and more a channel, a preferred channel for complex personal requests from customers, right? When the self-service tools have failed, that is often then where we can now use voice. But the important thing is, over the last couple of years, we have seen a huge catch-up on the telephony side when it comes to digitalizing. In the old days, when all the conversations happened over the phone, unless the agent documented what was said, that information was gone. But today, and that's actually one of the services that Salesforce offers in Service Cloud Voice, we can transcribe every single call in many languages today that allows actually word by word the details that have been said between the agent and the customer to be available for all sorts of things like recommending in the flow certain actions to be taken, for summarizations of the call, for next best actions or upsell and cross-sell functionality. So voice has actually evolved from let's say a legacy channel into a full-blown digital channel that has a lot of potential, I think, of which some we haven't even seen yet today.
Yeah, some years ago, Salesforce made a transition from CTI to voice, with then also Amazon and bring your own telephony. Can you explain it a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. I always compare it like the following, right? When we started with Service Cloud and OpenCTI, the CTI functionality was bringing some call controls into the agent desktop, right? That was pretty much it. The agent knew a phone call was coming in. At best, they saw a few details that were then used to pop up some customer information, but that was the end of, if you want to, the synchronization between what happened on the telephony side and the Salesforce side. A few years back, we took the deliberate choice to actually bring the full digital experience of voice into the agent desktop, right? I already mentioned transcriptions, hugely important, right? We are capable nowadays with our partners to cover pretty much every language there is and create a transcript on the go for the application to use it, right? To either present information back to the agent or to do analytical to do analysis better at the end of the call. So I think we have been, in order to do that better, we have been able to open up our platform to, obviously you mentioned Amazon, which is was one of our starting partners to embed in that route, mainly because at that point in time they were the partner that was the furthest evolved in offering the tool set that we needed. But today, pretty much all large telephony vendors have the same capabilities. And the great thing about Service Cloud Voice is that you can easily unplug all the capabilities of Amazon Connect and plug in the capabilities of other of our vendors. Like for instance, recently we announced a strategic alliance with Genesys, but we also have TalkDesk, Vonage, and many more partners that we have that, depending on the needs of our customers, can then select the right telephony vendor and plug it in while still having all the advantages. And by the way, I think one of the biggest advantages is the one for the supervisors. Don't forget, since the breakout of COVID, a lot of the contact centers nowadays are a hybrid, right? Not everybody sits in a contact center. More and more people sit or work part of their time at home. But imagine the poor supervisor who needs to manage that team, right? Service Cloud Voice brings a unique capability in such that the supervisor can still literally see the conversations on the phone happening in their console and are still able to help the agents remotely with support where needed.
Yeah, so it means that the mammoth is not dead and it's still alive.
More than.
Last session we speak about AI, and how do you see AI in these channels?
I think I already mentioned a couple of times, right? I think the biggest advantage that we will have in service with AI will be in the channels and the channel engagement with our customers. We spoke about self-service, right? Bringing easy to understand, personalized answers back to our customers in a self-service context is going to be key. I think the second part is then front-ending all these channels with intelligent co-pilots that will help our customers in speaking in a natural language, finding the right answers using all the data that Salesforce has, and then bring that back to these customers is going to be groundbreaking for sure. And I think the third bit is artificial intelligence is also going to help our agents and supervisors, right? We talked about co-pilots. Co-pilots can sit at the customer side, but even more important are the co-pilots that sit with the agents and are, if you want to, the sort of buddies of the pilot that will help them find relevant information, summarize information, and help them in being a better agent.
Wow, what AI can do. What advice do you have for organizations about their transition to multi-cloud?
I think I said it in a couple of the episodes before as well, is, think big, but start small, right? Again, there's no point in switching at one point in time all channels in one go, right? And for various reasons. First of all, your customers, right? Your customers need to be aware that you open up a channel and they need to be convinced of the advantage that adding a new channel will offer them. Whether it's self-service or messaging channels and so on, it takes some time for customers to adopt it and to use it in the best possible way. I think secondly, and probably even more important, are your agents, right? Don't forget that agents were typically trained for telephony and how to handle one conversation in one go. All of a sudden with messaging, typically what happens is agents have to handle multiple sessions in one go. It requires another mindset. You have to make a deliberate decision whether you want to keep them, focus on one channel, or do you want to give them access to many channels at one go, which, by the way, I would not advise. But it's also, the way of reading, replying might be completely different, right? In a telephone conversation, you you have a different tone of voice. You speak differently in chat. You want to be precise, concise, and short. So, you know, a lot of training for your agents and also for your supervisors and your managers, right? We talk about workforce management, for instance, right? Planning your agents to you know, be in sync with the capacity that is needed for these channels requires, again, a whole different tool set, right? How do you measure how many agents you need if they handle 4 channels simultaneously? You know, what's the average handling time of such a channel? It might be different because, you know, a chat might start minute 1, but then the customer might be away for 5 minutes and then come back. How do you measure that? How do you make sure that that agent is still occupied in the best possible way? These are some of the questions that Salesforce can help with.
Indeed, you have announced not long ago call center. I think that's the thing about all these sessions, but also about planning of your service team. Can you give some?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have been doing is get ourselves ready to become a full contact center platform, right? With all the channels, all the tools for the agents, all the tools for the supervisors, but also great partnerships with other companies when it comes to contact center solutions and workforce management. We have a native object in our Salesforce database that is about the shift and the agent and skills. So you only have to define in one place who your agents are, what skills they have, what proficiency they have for these skills, and then any other of these applications can pick that up and use that, for instance, in workforce management to optimize the availability and the usability of your agents.
Cool. Can you share some examples of challenges a company can have and hopefully also overcome?
Yeah, as I said, right, it often has to do with, you know, the speed of which you implement it and the channels, right? We see often companies switch on too many channels in one go without proper training. Without you know, reflecting, you know, what is a standard library of replies I would want to use. You know, how do I automate and bring a bot in front of that? So, you know, I would say multi-channel requires a proper design up front to take into consideration a lot of things. And I think there's also a second point to multi-channel, right? It's not about adding channels. I would say probably, and that is something that is not very popular in customer service organizations, but sometimes you also need to consider retiring certain channels. You know, there is a big retailer in the Netherlands that has decided to get rid of the email channel. And a lot of people in the business were really unsure and uncertain about, you know, should we do that or not? But it turned out that the Net Promoter Score in the contact center went up when they actually decommissioned the email channel, because, you know, email was an asynchronous channel that took a lot of time, that took a lot of back and forward conversations about the questions and so on and so on. And replacing email with WhatsApp and chat actually meant customers were able to get in touch faster and get responses much faster, which resulted in a high Net Promoter Score without having any impact on the average handling time or the total case duration.
Speaking about average handle time, what is your advice about companies who are still using cherry picking and not the routing-based solutions?
Don't. You know, I would say that nowadays so many reasons to go for distribution of workloads to agents. And it's not just for cherry picking, because your agents will pick up the easy bits and pieces for sure. But I think, again, going back to what we said in the beginning, most channels nowadays are digital and they are so rich in data. And actually, Salesforce Service Cloud allows you to do so much more intelligent routing with the data that your customers have been giving you, right? You probably know on what channel they are. You probably have been asking in the bot what product, or if it was an existing case or not. And that allows you to bring the customer in contact with the right agent at the best possible time. Avoiding, you know, and everybody knows that the discussion where I just spoken to your colleague 5 minutes ago. Oh, what was it about? Oh, I don't see anything, right? So that whole situation is now completely gone with Salesforce. You can actually route somebody who comes back with a question, and we know they have been speaking to an agent before. We can route them back to that agent if that agent is available, as an example, creating a much better customer experience. So, it's not just about cherry picking, it's also about optimizing the way you deliver customer service.
Yeah, you were speaking about routing. Yeah. You have queue-based routing, but also skill-based routing. I think you was referring to that one.
Yep.
Can you explain it, how easy it is to set it up?
It is quite easy to set it up, right? So as I said, you can assign to agents skills. Skills can be languages or can be their business capabilities, right? Maybe an agent is a great salesperson. Maybe an agent is great in financial questions. Maybe somebody is good at returns, and you define what the best work type is that these agents can handle. On the other hand, you have the work that needs to be distributed, and you can tag that as well with information, right? So if, for instance, the chat bot has identified the question was about a billing inquiry, you will match that billing inquiry, which might be in French, with an agent that is great in French. Proficiencies also allow you then to actually go looking, okay, what if the best combination is not possible? What could be the next level down to that? And I think in the future there's going to be even more possibilities. We talked about skills. There is actually now also a lot of companies that start investigating in the emotional connect between agents, right? So if you have a customer who is very analytical, why don't we pair that up with this agent that is very analytical, or an emotional customer, right, who is emotional with somebody who is good at empathy? Even at that level, we see companies starting to experiment with bringing in touch with one another the best possible matches.
I can recap. So you have multi-channel, you have emails always. You have the web forms on the website that comes in. You have telephony with voice. You have chat with chat bots possibilities. Also social, WhatsApp, all that communication, SMS, and etc. Can you maybe also give us some little future trends?
I think what crystal ball, right? I think that there might still be new channels coming up, right? It goes fast. If you look at Threads had from 1 to 100 million users overnight. So who knows what is going to be the next. I think the good thing is Salesforce actually has an open architecture that allows us to plug in quite rapidly new channels and then bring them to the advisors. One trend that I do see as well is more and more the use of video. I wouldn't say video is a channel typically conversations start with, but it's definitely a channel that is usable in the follow-up steps in a conversation. How great is it if you're a retailer and a customer complains about a broken object that was delivered, that you can actually say, hold on, I'll send you a link so you can show me with your camera on your mobile phone what you mean, right? And then actually document the video as part of the case for instance, a claim later on. So that is one of the possibilities you have. A little bit further in the future, though, I think the big trend is going to be the machine to machine. Yeah. It is already I think a year or a little bit more ago, Google had at one of their conferences a bot from a customer on their mobile phone that made a hairdresser appointment with a bot on the phone of the hairdresser. And actually it was very weird to listen into how a human-like bot spoke to a human-like bot, talking about how to set up a hairdresser appointment. And I think that's going to be what will happen in the future is, we will have co-pilots as consumers helping us to navigate the complex world of the co-pilots of the companies. And I think that's, an interesting area to watch closely.
To make a full recap, Salesforce Service Cloud can handle all the communication channels that are today, and they are also future-proofed.
Yep.
So thank you, Jan, again, to be here, my guest. Thank everyone for watching. Hopefully I see you on our next section about multi-cloud with our customer Torfs.